We're going to change gears now, Pete, and we're going to look at booze. We're going to look at beer.
Let's do it. It's Friday. Why not?
It's Friday. Brand wars.
Okay.
The science of advertising.
Now, you've been very kind and you've actually analysed an ad for us.
Yep.
So we're going to show Heineken and a VB ad.
Okay.
So I want to show the Heineken ad without the analysis first, and then we'll show the VB ad. And then we're going to discuss, and then we're going to go through one of those ads using steady state topography, SST.
Yep.
So this is EEG. I would go second tier. And I'm really keen to see what we're going to learn here, Pete. But let's cut to Heineken and VB now.
Yep, let's do it.
Heaven, I'm in heaven.
They actually made a good start. Tension rises on the track.
I can hardly
Right now they are all there. They are all very close. Up such a tight space for a pass. But he makes it.
Yes. When we're together,
Max Verstappen wins. The crowd is going crazy.
cheek to cheek.
You can get it digging holes and pounding in poles. 88 posts, perfectly interspersed. You've sure got a thirst. And when the sun goes down and the day is done, there's only one beer that'll do. But when you gotta get up and get at it again, well, VB's got a mid-strength now too. Yes, a hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer, and the best cold beer is Vic. Victoria Bitter.
Pete, over to you. Quick thoughts.
So interesting. Well, we've got two iconic advertisers, haven't we? You know, like that jingle behind the VB ad, which, you know, I think we all pretty much grew up with, you know, is it would have to be one of Australia's most iconic jingles, you know, and we're not here to talk about, you know, its role in, you know, in coming and going, because I know it was dropped years ago and it was reintroduced, and thank God it has been. But yeah, that ad, the VB ad, and of course that's a new variant, VB mid strength 3.5, and slightly different sort of logo and that type of thing, and that's fine. We're not here to talk about the logo necessarily on the beer can. But interesting ad. Do you want me to go into that a little deeper? Yeah, because I think we'll finish on the Heineken one, which is a completely different brand, and you know, again, another iconic brand that spends squillions on intelligence, engineering great ads, and you know, getting associations with Formula One, none of which are cheap or quick. You know. And neither is the VB story cheap or quick. But it is interesting. Again, forgive me for getting executional, but as we've already established, often the devil's in the detail. And, you know, if you're relying on that ad and that ad only in market, could I ask you what you thought might have been interesting and quirky or unusual about that ad?
Which one?
The VB ad.
What was quirky, interesting? It felt like there was kind of, if you're looking at story, it felt really fragmented. You know, it was kind of like there was that big black screen in the middle and then it jumped to, like that's probably my immediate reaction.
Yep. It is interesting. And the reason why I thought it'd be interesting for us to discuss it is that you're right. It has, and we haven't discussed this prior to today, but I've just sort of said, hey, here's the ad that I think we should talk about. It's interesting in as far as it has a split-second black screen right in the middle. Now that you know, you might say, oh, look, you know, and I'm sure some people wouldn't have even noticed it. So, you know, kudos for noticing that. But that carves the ad completely in half. And we've seen, now we haven't put that through Neuro, but we've seen ads that basically creatively, tonally put a black scene. Usually towards the back end of the ad when you want to build suspense and mystery, and it fundamentally kills the ad. Fundamentally breaks it in half, and the mind and the brain goes, oh well, okay, that's it. You know, that's over. Even if it lasts a millisecond or, you know, a few hundred milliseconds of 1,000.
That cues end of story, doesn't it? So
End
of story, close. Next chapter.
Now, that may have been intentionally inserted because the creatives and the client wanted two different ads, But that's actually what they've engineered. They've engineered two separate ads that, as it turns out, on telly, happen side by side. So the point to be made here is that I don't know whether it's intentional. I have no idea about the background of that ad, and in fact, if we were in dialogue with the client, I wouldn't even be mentioning it publicly because that's confidential information. But just looking at that through the eyes of Neuro, you would say you've made two separate ads there. I'm not sure if it's intentional, but that's what you've got, which means they both have to stand on their own 2 feet. And I don't know whether part one would actually be linked to part two.
But
it may, but it's a high-risk
But
strategy.
even part one felt like it didn't really have an intro. It was like it cut halfway through a story, and then it had this interrupt, and then it was kind of you were left consciously trying to join dots rather than like the processing fluency of this feels really good. It's really natural. It's an easy story to follow.
Yeah. It's highly segmented. And again, I don't know what the creative strategy was there, and maybe it's a clever creative and media play. I don't know. But one thing is for sure is that ad is, it's two ads in half, sort of bolted together in a media execution.
See, the thing is, I think from an execution perspective, I am totally aligned. I think there's a lot that could be done to make that a more impactful. But what I love about it is same sound and character, memorable character, two of the most powerful mnemonics you can use for distinctive brand assets. So VB, same thing. I know they've changed logo and can and all the rest of it, but they've brought it back.
Yep.
Sense of nostalgia. I love how they anchored their brand to the hardworking Aussie. And it nearly makes you feel a little bit thirsty as you watch it.
No, it's got all the hallmarks of their distinctiveness. Yeah.
It's just in the moments of your final. So I love the concept, and I love that they've brought that back because it is their hero. But I agree with you. The ad itself is actually harder. It feels like you've got to work to watch the ad or try and join dots.
Yeah.
I know some clients like that because they think it works. I think the opposite.
Well, I don't know. I actually, to that point, I really don't know until you put it through Neuro and go, okay, do these two chapters work better together? In fact, maybe the only way to test it is to actually put one at the start of an ad break and one at the end and actually have them apart, because essentially the way that ad's engineered at the moment, they are two separate ads. Again, it could be a masterstroke, but often when we're talking and working with clients, and CMOs, they go, "Oh, I had no idea. I had no idea that I was causing that level of disruption," because subconsciously you've sliced that ad in half, and you're asking the consumer to process two different stories.
This is the trap I'm seeing brands fall into. I'm also creatives. They're so obsessive with trying to get attention. They're trying to do weird, wonderful, interesting cuts to get attention and break prediction. Whereas I go, you might be getting attention because it's like disruptive. Doesn't mean you're forming memory or the right type of memory. Is that
exactly? And attention could simply be visual fireworks.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the last New Year's Eve fireworks implicitly? Well, you remember things going off, but you don't encode that because you don't have to. And the brain knows what it needs to store away and what it doesn't. And so it's a clever device might just be a visual firework.
But this is the trap with the attention economy everyone's going after. They're pursuing attention. If you're looking at memory formation, all you need is attention open. More attention doesn't mean better memory encoding. It means you just need to have attention, and that's the opportunity for memory to form. So just pursuing attention for the sake of attention's sake usually drives ads in the wrong direction rather than going, do I have attention or not? All it is a yes.
And there's
yes or no.
A great point. Great point. And there's an important distinction here. Attention, right? We need to make the distinction between attention metrics in media and attention metrics in creative. And I get the fact that attention's mainly being used as a media metric to go, okay, well, look, if the ad's not even going to be noticed, then okay. So that's got some merit, right? It's got to be fair. But if you take the attention debate into creative, oh man, that's where you really spray and pray, and you chase the wrong destination.
You really
completely.
are. And I'm aligned because this is where you go. For memory to occur, you have to have attention. So this is where the correlation is attention has to occur for memory to form. The challenge is if you optimize for attention, you're not optimizing for memory. Attention is part of the process. It is not the end game, but you have to have attention for this to happen. Now, this is where people are trying to scale for attention, not optimize for memory. That's my problem with it.
Yes, even that, please forgive me for saying this, but even that's too simplistic because that only happens on the very first exposure. Like attention can lead to memory creation. But, you know, the quirk about all this is that once the brain processes and parks a brand memory, you know, or a distinctive device, whether it's the VB logo or that great iconic soundtrack and everything, once that's been formed in memory, the shortcuts that the brain takes on subsequent exposures is profound. And in fact, we've seen attention decrease while memory increases. So just beware of what you're chasing because it's a fallacy.
But we're actually really aligned there, Pete, because this is where I go, attention, you just need to creep over the line to get attention. You know, you don't need more attention to form better memory.
No.
You just have to, like, if I'm paying no attention to this ad and I'm looking at my phone and that is absorbing, like, no, it doesn't have the ability to form memory because your attention is not there. So the gateway, the door's not open. And
can I debate that?
Yeah, go.
But, that's the essence of a great jingle. Because if you've seen that ad once and it's been parked in memory successfully, you can be on your mobile device and have that playing in the background, and your brain will be encoding it and or re-triggering all those beautiful brand memories that it's already built. So that's the great good news, if you like, behind all the pain and suffering of building strong brand assets, great jingles, great voiceovers that just never change and just constantly. They're the shortcuts you can take if you do it right.
So there's two types of attention though, isn't there, Pete?
Direct and indirect, or
correct.
Yeah.
So you've got focused attention.
Of course, yeah.
And then you've got subconscious attention that's actually in the background, which is really system one, looking at cues for threats and opportunity.
Sure. Or if you don't use the words indirect and direct, you can say I've got visual attention, but do I have anything else? Often the answer is no.
Yeah.
So you don't need visual attention, and let's face it, most of those attention metrics are visually derived.
They are.
So.
But
there's
it goes
a bigger
back
game.
to, and again, it feels like my theme that I'm beating the drum on today is audio, because that's audio.
Yeah.
And that actually, through indirect or subconscious attention, can still form in the background once you've built initial. And those distinctive, like, memorable characters, I just need a glance at it.
Totally.
Not a huge amount of attention, but it's actually an exposure and it all adds to the vault.
That's right. It's almost as good as 30 seconds that you've paid for previously. Yeah.
So it's just embed, remind, refresh.
Yeah. And as time wears on and as memories strengthen, you can afford to do less and get more. That's the quirk.
So, and then we go to brand, and brand is like one of my favorite topics because brand, and I love asking this question. It's like, what does brand mean to you? I was actually on a podcast the other week, and it was a creative director that's running a podcast, and I asked her the same question. And then it kind of caught her off guard, and she was like, oh, she started going on storytelling and other bits and pieces. My view on brand is when you see or exposed to a brand, like, how do you feel about it? Like it's very emotive. It's very subconscious.
Yep.
And I think this is when you look at brand, these two ads are really interesting. So you've got VB. Yeah. It taps into the hard work, the nostalgia. It's a badge of honor you're really wearing. It's like, it's an identity you buy and leverage when you carry around. And that's what alcohol really is. Branding is the identity. When I hold this can, who am I or associated to when I hold a VB? Yeah. Or if I hold a Heineken, who do you think I am based on holding that can? Yeah. And the IDs are so different. So you've got this hardworking Aussie. Yeah. I'm rough. I'm tough. Yep. I'm a concreter. Yep. I'm a builder.
And look, honestly, it's one of the great case studies of all time, you know, in terms of marketing, brand, brand association, the whole thing, you know. And yes, the beer category is fragmented, and the options are just eye-watering now, aren't they? And yet you've still got this solid, rock-solid brand in the middle, you know.
It talks directly to a market. Heineken, we're going to move to Heineken now. And this is what I love. It's a really interesting ad for Heineken because there's no words.
Yep.
It is just anchoring. You do have celebrities within there from drivers and like DJs.
Yep.
But it's a really emotive ad in terms of it's a very positive, it's like a celebration. The whole ad is a celebration. But throughout it, and this is really interesting looking at your work, looking at where the opportunities are to form memory. There's literally like a dozen anchor points with Heineken throughout where you're like, you cannot not experience a positive emotion and anchor it to a Heineken. And that is really what Heineken have done so well over the years.
Exactly. If we get back to our Einstein comment of, you know, we usually count the things that don't count and we can't count the things that really count. And look at the Heineken ad, you go, oh my God, like a global master at branding, a great beer, or every tick, 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 oozing green brand cues. If it's not a bottle of Heineken, it's got you know, fluorescent green lighting in the background. Things are tonally, it just oozes Heineken. If you look at that just in the flesh, as we have or as we will,